asked for.
But you sent out a mayday?
Uh-huh.
Do you need help?
We're pamphlets. Our ship is the Mondor. It is broken.
Apparently, we found the space short bus. After several minutes of conversation like that, Geordi says he can go over and fix it in no time. But Worf is leery about that, suspicious of these guys. Riker, however, sees nothing at all suspicious about people too stupid to operate their own ship, and sends Geordi over alone to deal with it. Geordi arrives and they all close in to give him big hugs, but he manages to get out of it in time, and says he's going to get to work fixing the ship.
He is smart.
Meanwhile, Picard is trapped with Wesley. When Wesley comments on his slow speed, Picard contemptuously compares it with the late 22nd century. In other words, when he thinks of something slow and monotonous, his first thought is Captain John the Archer. You would be bold, Picard. He also shows that genuine love he has for Wesley.
Why are you coming with me to Starbase 515, sir?
Well, it's certainly not my idea. 6 hours alone with a little turd like you makes me vomit. Picard eventually reveals that he's going to replace his artificial heart because his current one is faulty. Still, faulty or no, he's too prideful to want people looking at his insides. He'd rather risk death. So he tries going back to his book, but eventually Wesley strikes up a conversation again. Picard replies by closing the book and, yep, heads back into the shuttle, far, far away from Wesley.
Didn't you ever wish you had kids of your own?
Wishing for a thing does not make it so.
Saying make it so is how you make it so. Turd. Dear God, I hate you so. Back on Enterprise, Troy comes running on the bridge, convinced Geordi's in great danger, which you'll know because she says it like 5 times in a row. Geordi seems alright as he continues with the repairs, but other stuff keeps breaking and he goes from task to task. Finally, Riker says he's going to just tow them to a starbase to get straightened out, but instead they steal Geordi's phaser and send it to ass-kick and blast him. They then raise some pretty advanced shields to block the transport and cut off communication. Now, you might be thinking this was all a clever ruse, and if so, you'd be partially correct. There was a ruse, but not that the pamphlets were faking, just the damage itself was fake. They really, truly are that dumb. Now, people have tried to defend them, saying that they were just linguistically hampered, but these people show no sign that they have any kind of intelligence. They're going to be tricked by a trap more obvious than their own eventually, and never see it coming. So I'm not buying into that. They have no language skills, no technical skills, an inability to see through a transparent deception. Well, what kind of intelligence do these numbnuts have then that's worth talking about? Do they have a firm grasp of baseball? Are they musical savants? Everything suggests these people are as stupid as they seem. And that's what's sad. Getting tricked by a less advanced species, okay, that would make a fine episode. But there's a colossal difference between a group of less advanced aliens and a ship that's literally full of morons. I've often said that a Star Trek villain is obviously retarded, but I never actually meant it literally before. The Enterprise has just been tricked by a ship full of retards. And just compare this to our previous episode, Q-Who, where the enemy was the Borg. That just highlights the difference between a good villain and a bad villain. Generally speaking, good villains are threatening, powerful, and, capable of forming a goddamn sentence. When I think of a nemesis for the Enterprise, of the best that Starfleet has to offer, my mind turns to relentless cyborgs, not the Special Olympics. Anyway, Picard finally calls Wesley back and explains things over sandwiches. He tells him how, when he was just graduated, he and his friends were waiting at some outpost to go on to their assignments. While there, he got into a fight with a trio of surly Nausicaans and wound up getting stabbed through the back. That's why he needed an artificial heart. The odd thing he noted was that he looked down at the blade in his chest and laughed. But he doesn't know why. He also discusses romance with Wesley and the importance of being careful with relationships. Wesley, of course, says that he has total control when it comes to women. Please. Every time Troy bends over, he has to go and change his pants. Back on Enterprise, they work to try to find a way to force the Packmans to contact them, or to find a way to get a beam through their shields. Over on the Packman ship, Geordi's forced to program their replicators to make more phasers. He says turn out well for Geordi, though, as, when contact finally was restored, Packwood set Phaser on ass-kick and blast him again. The Packwoods then demand all the information from their computer in exchange for Geordi. This calls for a trip to the conference room, where Worf's position is clearly stated. We must use force. We must hit their ship until their shields drop, then beam Geordi back. Then we go over and tear the Packwoods' faces off, and then we put them back on upside down, and then we... Meanwhile, Wesley and Picard arrive at the starbase, and Picard is brought in for the surgery. Everyone's wearing nice, relaxing, bright red outfits, because nothing is as relaxing as crimson. I also like the way they all look like they work in the main reactor of the Willy Wonka factory. The main surgeon puts Picard's mind at ease on how easy this procedure will be, and then puts him under so he can give a little speech to everyone gathered about how this is an incredible procedure that he's going to perform. And with the speech out of the way, the doctor gets to work removing Picard's appendix. Now, I only took a semester of human anatomy in college and never actually dissected anything larger than a cat. But I could swear that the heart was located somewhere in the chest. You know, up where that thing is that's covering Picard, instead of down below it where the doctor's messing about. Poor Picard. He's gonna come out of this thing with the same bad heart and a vasectomy. Well, at least we still know there are HMOs in the future. Back on Enterprise, they revealed that the Power's entire development has been one of stealing technology from others, including the Romulans and the Klingons, neither of which seems terribly likely. Riker says they're going to have to trick the Packwoods, which should be really hard considering they're not there in person to use the got-your-nose trick on them or tell them their shoes are untied. But Geordi's thinking the same thing, so he convinces them to let him talk to the Enterprise.
We want what we want.
Ah, how very zen. So Riker gives Geordi the info in plain view, showing that any assertions the Packwoods are not as dumb as they seem are unfounded. These could not be more obvious unless they actually used huge signs from Geordi. He quickly catches on to the plan and follows along, so the Packwoods figure that he can make them weapons. Meanwhile, Picard's surgery is not going well. For some reason, installing Picard's new artificial heart is causing problems. Again, no expert, but maybe if you put it in his chest instead of his leg, it might work better. You know, just spitballing here. Well, they need a super-duper specialist on this, and the only one in the area is the Gorgon. So, now we have a ticking clock to resolve this Packwood issue. My God. How do you explain to Starfleet Command you couldn't go to save your captain's life because your chief engineer has been kidnapped by Porky? Oh, and speaking of which, Riker decides to level the playing field by putting Ensign Gomez, previously known for not fixing the shields and dumping her drink up the cart in our last episode, in charge of Operation Rescue Geordi. Poor guy, he's so screwed. The clock races on, with Packwood needing some brains, Picard needing a new heart, and somewhere, a lion demanding courage. Geordi starts setting up the Packwood weapons, and Riker says he's going to fire on them. So Geordi and Gomez begin running through their routines while the countdown goes, until the Enterprise makes a great big red cloud with their engines. Geordi calls it the Crimson Shield, which turns off all weapons and will leave them helpless. The Packwoods, being incredibly stupid, buy into this and reluctantly surrender Geordi rather than being destroyed. With this resolve, Enterprise is able to get Pulaski to Picard in time to save his life and apparently stabilize his leg heart. When he returns, the crew applauds until he glares at them in total loathing, showing that warm fatherly charm we've so loved him for. You know, there's a real irony in the fact that a man who has a brand new heart has such a total hatred for the people close to him. Well, I suppose it's no biggie. Now that he's got that heart, I'm sure it'll never, ever give him any more problems. The post-episode follow-up. The annoying character is awarded to Picard for some of his more pointlessly surly antics. Final score is 4 out of 10. Oddly enough, the West Picard scenes are actually what buoy this episode up. The drama about Picard's heart and everything to do with the Packwoods is mediocre at best and idiotic at worst. The only good thing to come from this episode is the follow-up we'll have in the later review, Tapestry.